What's good, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Flagrant Talk Sports Podcast. It's me, Isaiah, here with my favorite co-host, Mr. Moses Firmino.
What's going on, everybody?
And today we figured, we've kind of been teasing at it. If you stuck around later in our past couple vids, we've been teasing this video. This is something we haven't done on our channel at all. We haven't discussed video games. We haven't discussed any of that. However, there's a really big game coming back. We are not sponsored, obviously, in any way. So everything you're hearing from us, totally authentic.
Yep.
But NCAA football is finally back. I cannot wait to be playing this game.
It has been a long time coming. I remember on my Xbox 360 as a little kid playing, I think it was 14 was the last one.
Yep.
Just solid memories. So happy they brought it back with all the players, putting in all the effort that they're putting in for stadiums, for different scenarios. It's really exciting, and I'm excited for this video.
Yeah. So in this video, Moses and I both have 5 teams that, hey, if you are going into this completely blind, you're like, hey, recommend me some teams. Give me a reason or two why I should pick the team. You're in the right place. We've got 10 teams that you should at least consider when you boot up the game and click on Dynasty mode. Because I know for me, I'm doing that first. I'm getting that rolling. So without further ado, I'll kick us off here with one that isn't even a rebuild. This is a build. There is nothing to rebuild. It is Kennesaw State, their first year in the FBS, obviously meaning they've never been in an NCAA football game before. They are brand new. This will be, point blank, arguably the hardest rebuild in the game. For the very reason that it's a build. You are building from the ground up. However, you're going to be doing it in style. I love their yellow uniforms. Their logo is sick. And for all these teams, for me at least, you got to have the sauce. You've got to have some cool unis, a cool logo. If I'm going to be looking at that for as much time as I am, all the hours I'm going to put into a dynasty, you got to have it.
For sure.
Kennesaw State has it. They are in Georgia, which I love. Potentially, if you're able to build them into that powerhouse in years from now. Years. I'm talking a long time, but you have that rivalry potentially with the Bulldogs. You are also in the Conference USA. So you'll get that experience as well. Maybe you're able to move up in conferences as you perform better, but Kennesaw State is going to be a very, very popular pick, but I think for great reason. You're in for a test.
For sure. For sure.
Without a doubt.
Jumping over to my first squad. If you're a fan of the pod or know me personally, this wouldn't be a surprise to you, as I am a proud Boise State Bronco. And the Boise State Broncos are definitely on the rise. This is definitely going to be an exciting rebuild, I believe, for anyone, even if you're not affiliated with the Broncos. How can you not love the blue turf and all that comes with it? Boise State is looking to win their first national championship since 1980.
Wow.
So lots of change, obviously, since then. They pretty successful last year, at least. It's been a little bit of a down couple years for Boise State in terms of what they're used to in Boise, but 8-6 last year, 6-2 in conference, winning the Mountain West Conference after firing their head coach Andy Avalos. An unbelievable season, gift wrapped, I guess, with Spencer Danielson coming in and getting the job done. But they have the highest recruiting class in Mountain West history coming in this season. Lots of exciting new players, new guys. One of them, Chris Marshall, the number one ranked JUCO product in the country. He was a
Mhm.
former 5-star recruit, dismissed from Ole Miss last season due to some off the field issues, but Spencer Dennison said he's ready to go, ready to bounce back. Also, exciting new transfer, USC backup to Caleb Williams, the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. Malachi Nelson is on his way to Boise State, should win the starting job. It's going to be an exciting new look
Mhm.
offense, but they have one of the best running backs in the country in Aston Janty, who averaged and their offense averaged 215 rushing yards a game, which was sixth in all of Division One. So you got something to build off of there. Deep receiving core returning: Latrell Caples, Austin Bolt, Prince Strahan. This team is exciting. Defensive struggles a little bit. They were mid to low tier in most Division One rankings, but they have the pieces. They have the guys. There's some new guys coming in on defense. I think this is going to be a really exciting rebuild if you choose to do so.
I love it. Obviously, Moses and I talk about it all the time, but if there was no connection to Boise State, it's still on this list.
For sure.
The playing on that field alone
Mhm.
um is going to be awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, you get to build something special there. We didn't have Coastal Carolina on this list. Slight spoiler.
Mm.
However, I
That's
mean,
another team.
it's Coastal Carolina, man. They're
For
they're
sure.
going to be so popular
Yeah.
and for good reason. So,
100%.
with that being said, on to the next team, the team I've got. And this team for me might be the favorite for me to play first.
Yeah.
It's the Miami Hurricanes, not Miami of Ohio, just to clarify. Obviously, uniforms, clean. You're in Florida. You're going to be able to get all of these amazing prospects. You have some
Mhm.
great rivalries. But the big thing is this really is a rebuild. This is a historic college football program. And it's not that they've been terrible. It's not that they've, completely fallen off the map. No one talks about them, but they're kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
And
At least
they're there.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, okay, they're there. They're around 500. They might be a
Mhm.
win over 500, but like
Mhm.
you want to be a team that wins 10, 11 games, especially with all of the things that you have at your disposal
For sure.
recruiting wise.
For sure.
That being said, the number one guy, the player, if you're looking for a player, Cam Ward, quarterback this year for Miami, transfer from WSU, flirted a little bit with the NFL draft, but ultimately decided, hey, let me go to Miami. Let's see what we can cook up.
Mhm.
Ward is a awesome, if you haven't seen him play, awesome dual threat
Yeah.
quarterback, can sling it, can scramble, projected first round potentially draft pick in this year's
Mhm.
draft.
Mhm.
I think if he was in this year's class because of the needs of quarterbacks and things, he would have had a decent stock. But
Yeah.
him being in Miami is going to make for a really fun piece, at least to have your first year of a rebuild.
Mhm.
Um, in the ACC, obviously, tough comp, and
For
that's
sure.
awesome.
For
You
sure.
want that tough comp when you're
Yep.
doing a rebuild.
Yep.
Um, and the NCAA, they just announced some of the rankings. They have the seventh best offense in this year's game. So there you are. You've got the offensive pieces, but you've got to find a way, get out of that mediocrity and become that powerhouse that the Hurricanes are known to be.
For
So
sure.
yeah,
Bring that glory back to Miami. I love the pick
totally,
there.
totally.
Um, I'm going to stay in the Mountain West,
Mm-hmm.
but a little bit of a different situation in the Mountain West in the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. They haven't been ranked in the top 25 since late in the 2010 year. That was the last time
Wow.
they were ranked top 25, let alone being close to a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing this team to a natty would be pretty special. 5-8 overall last season, bottom half on both sides of the ball as well. 21.4 points per game, was 106th in Division One. 32.2 opponent points per game, was tied for 109th in Division I football. They definitely have some bright sides, though. They have a senior quarterback returning, Braden Shager. He improved substantially in 2023 after a really rough 2022. 2022, he threw for 2,000 yards, 55% completion, 13 touchdowns. 2023, 3,500 yards, 63% completion, and 26 touchdowns. So big improvement. Throwing the ball a little bit more. He also had a career high in picks, so that's something to watch out for if their offense is going to keep going up on the rise. They also brought back their top 2 receiving weapons, which is awesome. An 1,000-yard receiver, 5th-year returning senior Stephen McBride, and I might blow this name up, but Bofele Ashlock, the sophomore, coming back after a solid freshman campaign. He caught 9 touchdowns and put up 832 receiving yards. So pretty solid offense to build around. This situation in itself, being in Hawaii, is going to be a unique one, trying to get recruits. That's definitely going to be a challenge in itself, but I think that this Hawaii team would be a really fun rebuild, kind of a off the grid, literally, team to do. And yeah, they got a couple bright spots on defense as well. They got a pretty good defensive back room. One of their juniors, Peter Manuma, 88 tackles, 3 interceptions. That's a guy who you could potentially, if he has another good season, maybe put him on the map for the NFL at some point. But just a exciting team I wanted to note there.
Yeah, I love Hawaii. Like you said, with the recruiting, I am so curious to see how that's handled in this game, because I know a lot of people go back to like 14 or 13 and they're like, okay, well, this is how they're going to do it probably.
Yeah.
Until we have the game and get like a deep dive, we really don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes Hawaii so intriguing. So
for sure.
Love the pick there.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me, moving on to a school that Moses hears me talk about a lot.
Yep.
I've been glazing. I mean, straight up, it's Kent State. Kent State is right up there for potentially my favorite rebuild to do in this game. I'm really excited for it. Being located, you can have a rivalry down the road with Ohio State. So having that in your back pocket, I like thinking long term of, hey, who can I build? Who's the big dog in the moment? And how can I dethrone them 10 years from now? Like, what can I do to be that? So you have that. Very difficult. This rebuild is not for the weak of heart. You will struggle. You will be bad. They're coming off a 1-11 season.
Yeah.
It hasn't been pretty. And you might think, well, maybe historically it's been a little better. You'd be wrong. They have 1 bowl win in their school's history. Back in 2019. Only bowl win that they have. Don't even have double-digit winning seasons as a program in their school's history. This is a team that's been around since the late 60s. So there's not a lot of success that you're building with. I love their uniforms a lot. If you've seen like the Chargers jerseys, you're working with those colorways, those kinds of logos. It's just fun. I'm really looking forward to building this program because it's gonna be rough. And it might even be rough this first year. But long term, it's gonna be fun. So Kent State in that top 2 maybe for me in terms of teams I'm really looking forward to rebuilding.
What conference were they in? Sorry.
Let me see where they're at. They're in snap.
My
What
fault.
is it?
I thought you said, but I'm just I guess I'm just setting you up. I'm just setting you up.
Mickey.
I
wasn't prepared. That's on me.
No, I mean, I thought you said it. I thought I just missed it.
It is. The Mid-American Conference.
Okay.
Also, side note, obviously one I left off. However, stadium name, and we'll leave it at that. If you know, you know. If not, go ahead and look it up. But that's just another reason to go with Kent State.
Love it. I love the pick there. I'm I'm switching out of the Mountain West for my third team. a little bit of a could be a shock to some, but I found another interesting note similar to Hawaii,
Mm,
haven't been ranked since 2010, UConn.
damn.
So that's something to look out for. They were 3-9 last season. And they went on a 2-game win streak to end the year. So it was a pretty rough season that they partially salvaged at the end there.
Yeah.
The big thing with UConn is they are an independent, so you get to choose the path in
Oh,
which they get to go, which I think is awesome. They're in a great area for conferences as well. Being in Connecticut, they can go to the ACC, they can go to the Big Ten, they got a lot of options there, as
mhm.
well as recruiting, being in that area, kind of upper northeast of the country, but you can get the recruits on that eastern side, which they're normally pretty solid recruits. The reason I wanted to do UConn was blue blood basketball schools in the past few years have been getting really good at football. Kansas, Duke, are a
Mhm.
couple examples. Why not the two-time national champions? They have basically their entire offense returning, which it wasn't that successful. So I don't know, maybe you can hop in and
Mhm.
rebuild that. But they were definitely run dominant. Their rushing leader, Cameron Edwards, put up 618 yards on the season. That was more yards than their leading receiver, who was a tight end. Um,
Holy crap.
so a little bit of a challenging rebuild here, to say the
Mhm.
least, but I just thought it would be another fun one to get one of those blue blood basketball schools into the football world.
I love it. I
Yeah.
totally agree. I mean, everyone talks about their basketball, and like you said, we're seeing these blue blood basketball schools too. Throw North Carolina in the mix. I mean,
Yep.
all of these schools are really solid. Kansas this year, off the
Mhm.
top of my head, probably the best of the bunch. But
Yeah.
we're if you can build the Huskies up there, we're seeing what they're doing in basketball.
Mhm.
Working that same magic on the football field would be great.
For sure.
Um, On to the next one. I've got the Memphis Tigers out of the AAC. This, for me, personally, is my favorite jerseys in all of college football. I
Clean.
so clean, love them. There's so many different colorways and things like that that you can operate with. Obviously, being in Tennessee, you're in a hot spot. You're going to be able to get a lot of talent. You also have a lot of potential rivalries that you can build up and down the road with this program.
Mhm.
They have had success, so this is not a school that you're going in and you're really going to struggle. This will be a good game in NCAA 25. So if you're looking for potentially a middling school where like, hey, I don't want to play obviously with Ohio State, but I want to play with a good team. I want to get to know Dynasty, things like that. Memphis is a great team to go in with,
Yeah.
and you have the opportunity to move them around. Yes, they're in the AAC now, but if you're able to build this program up, if you're able to really dominate it, and hey, I want to move to the SEC, I want to compete with Tennessee and the Volunteers and things like that, then you
Mhm.
have the opportunity to do that. So
Yeah.
honestly, off uniforms alone, Memphis makes my top five. It is what it is. So
For sure. Yeah.
yeah.
I love the note on the moving conferences. I know the
Hmm.
game isn't going to go in this deep with it, but
Yeah.
obviously on a real world level, they're a great basketball school. They're a great athletic
Hmm.
school in general. So moving up to a bigger conference would make sense. So
Yeah.
I love the pick, man.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Jumping over to my fourth team. I'm on a little themed list here.
Mhm.
Another independent squad in Army. I found out, I did not know this. They won 3 national championships in a row in the midst of World War II. 1944, 1945, 1946 national champions. So,
Damn.
you could take that. There's also on the other side, there's probably another argument for why that was the case, but we don't have to go into
Yep.
that.
Yep.
We don't have to go into that. I just personally think it would be awesome to bring one of the military schools another
Mhm.
national championship in this century, because none of
Mhm.
them have had that good of success this century. They obviously have an unbelievable run game, seventh best in the Division One, 208 yards per game. On the other side of the ball, you'd think, since their run game is so good offensively, it should be good on defense. Fortunately, it is not. They are 106th in the Division One on run D, so that is something you're going to want to watch out for.
Mhm.
Pretty solid recruiting as you're in the New York area, and it's pretty similar to UConn as for conference alignment there.
Yeah.
This team, their quarterback, Bryson Daly, passing yards on the season, 913. Rushing yards on the season, 901. So
That is
we are
insane, man. That is
we're we're running the ball at this school.
yeah.
They were top 5 in penalties. Obviously, they're one of the most disciplined teams in the country.
Yeah.
Let's bring Army. Let's bring one of the military schools national championship. Little side note: if you want an easier national military school,
Mhm.
Air Force would be your way to go. They had the second best run defense in college football,
Damn.
on top of top 6 run game. So yeah, man, that's what I got for Army. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Love it. I mean, you gotta have one of these military schools where the whole motto is run the damn football.
yep,
This is throwback football. Hey, we're not doing any of that air raid BS.
nope,
No, we're
nope,
going to dominate you with our physicality. We're gonna run the ball up the gut. We're gonna run these option plays. We're gonna do
yep,
triple options. We're gonna have our quarterback almost run for more yards than he passed for
yeah,
in
which
a
is
given season. I
insane.
insane. Like our that is how we are going to play, and that's how we're gonna win. We're gonna
Yep,
live by it. We're gonna die by it.
yep,
And I think that is fun. Like
for sure.
it's cool to go into a school and be like, okay, I want to be realistic when I'm building this.
Yep,
So I'm gonna recruit heavily at running back. I want to be able to rotate through bodies.
yep,
I don't really even care if my quarterback can throw the rock. I need you to run, man.
for
Get ready
sure.
to run. This is
Yep.
track and field for you out here.
Mhm. Mhm.
Offensive line I care about, and yeah, defense. Hey, man, we hopefully can.
Hold your
I'm gonna
own.
yeah
Yeah.
build that defensive line and corners.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll pray for you, man, but we'll see. We'll be able
We'll
to
get
make up for it.
we'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Um, with that being said, my fifth and final pick, I have Michigan State. And a lot of the things I said about Miami also apply to Michigan State. This
Yep.
is a program that is popular, similar to things Moses said about UConn and these blue bloods and these schools that are known a lot of the time for their basketball.
Mhm.
Bringing that back for Michigan State. This isn't a school that has been terrible. In fact, they've had a couple of really good seasons, even as of recent,
Yep.
but building that consistency. Hey, we want to be in the college football playoffs every year. We've got
Mhm.
to build that. Obviously, being in the Big Ten, stiff competition, you're going to battle. You
Yep.
have a built in, amazing classic rivalry with Michigan, who is a top dog and will remain a top dog through the entire time you're building your dynasty. So you have
Mhm.
this yearly battle of like, okay, we got to go head to head with potentially the best team in the country every
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
And it gives you a good like stick in terms of like, okay, where are we at? Are we close to completing this rebuild? How far off are we?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and I think just obviously the logo iconic, the field iconic. You have the green colorways on the uniforms, things like that. This is a program that churns out pro talent. You should be able to get pros on both sides of the football.
Yep.
And I think this is a perfect team similar to Miami that I'd have in a similar tier if you were looking to rebuild them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the pick, man.
Yeah.
This last team is probably the best team on this list, probably going to be one of the easier rebuilds on this list. But the Oklahoma State Cowboys have not won a national title since 1945. Why not bring it back to the state? They've been ranked consistently over the past few seasons. They were 10-4 last year, always competing in the solid Big 12. The big player here is Heisman hopeful Ollie Gordon II. He was the best running back in college football last season, putting up the most yards, 1,732 rushing yards, second in Division I football in touchdowns, 21 rushing touchdowns. Just an absolute stud who is a legitimate Heisman contender. I think that would be sick to hop in. You might not win a national championship with this team this first year. They have a lot of solid returning players. Their quarterback, Alan Bowman, who threw for 3,500 yards, damn near, is coming back. Top receiver, Brennan Presley, who almost put up a 1,000-yard season, is coming back. So offense is stacked. This team is really good. It's been a while. Bring it home to Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it too. It's always fun when you can now having real players throws a completely like new dynamic into the game, but having a guy where, hey, this is going to be his last year. He's going to go pro. He could be a first round pick next year. Totally in the cards for him.
Yeah.
And we're going to win him a Heisman on the way out. We're going to get him that accolade. So
yep.
I think no matter what team you're looking at, it's cool to pick apart like, okay, they have this player who is going to be a pro next year. Let's see what we can get him to do ahead of that. So,
yep.
Love the pick there with Oklahoma State.
Thank you.
When it comes to just honorable mentions, other teams, recommendations, I feel like Colorado will be the most popular team.
Yep.
And I'm not even saying, hell, I might start with them. They might be the perfect starter dynasty team. Got the name. You're seeing them do a rebuild in real time.
Yep.
With Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes there. So
one of the highest ranked offenses in the game as well.
Yeah. Top 10, right? I want to say they were
6, 7. Yeah.
Somewhere in there, like high.
Yep.
So obviously Travis Hunter, perfect timing at quarterback. So you've got some pieces there, but they're gonna be popular. So I felt like keeping them in here was a little redundant.
For sure. I'll since we're doing it now, I'll throw Air Force back in there just for the time stampers who are hopping around. Air Force is one of them. WSU.
Oh, man.
That'll be another fun one. We did a whole tier list on this, so we might have to throw that out just on the socials for people if they want more.
I think
more
we
teams.
will.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good options. I mean, 134 FBS teams in Division I this year, so there's something for everyone.
There is. Yeah. I mean, and to like just when in doubt, I know like, and I love doing all the research, seeing all the teams, hearing who people are going to rebuild, why they're going to rebuild them. I love doing that. But seriously, like, go with your gut. Say, hey, I like this uniform. I like this logo. I'm going to rebuild them. And like, that's totally fine. Now, if you say, hey, I'm going to rebuild Michigan, bro, you're a sicko.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a fan.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not rebuilding, you're dominating.
Yeah.
No, you're keeping it rolling, but there's no rebuild in sight. But to each their own.
For sure.
But yeah, that is the end of the vid. Let us know the team that you are most excited to play with.
Yep.
We would love to hear it. And before we sign off, Mo,
never forget.
Holy crap. I haven't thought of that in a minute. I have not thought of that in a minute. But yeah, take it away.
I got a song from Autumn featuring Summers.
Mm.
No New Friends. Nice little beat. They're floating. They're talking.
Mm-hmm.
I love the song. Love both the artists. I hadn't heard the song till recently, so if you haven't, go tap in.
Love it. I've got From Here by No Worries featuring Snoop Dogg. The Wylod album by No Worries, Anderson Paak, is incredible. It's gonna go down as probably my most played album of the year. So if you haven't checked it out, you will undoubtedly love it. It's a great song. Whole album's great. So that's how we're rocking to
Yeah.
wrap up today's vid.
We thank you guys for joining
Absolutely.
in, listening in. Let us know if you
Mm-hmm.
agree with our list, if you change anything, any teams you're excited to use. We
Mm-hmm.
appreciate any and every information that you want to give us. We
Totally.
look at it all. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah.
Excited for this game. We're a
Can't
couple
wait.
weeks away. Couple weeks away.
Can't wait, man.
Yep.
EA, yeah, if you ever feel like, blessing with some free copies, some free anything,
Yeah, you can
you
find
know,
nerd stuff. It's in the
yeah,
description
yeah. I
or
mean, like,
rate. Oh, right there.
but yeah, I mean, whatever. We won't complain. But yeah, this is, I guess, free promo. So
Yeah.
shout out EA.
Thank you for bringing it back.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in. We'll see y'all in the next video. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, yeah.